Hi, welcome to Spinster actually. My name is Anna Marie. Today I wanted to talk about an app, I guess kind of like review it, but also just like talk about it, which is called Indyx. The area of like YouTube and like textile styling stuff that I watch and I'm interested in like through this channel, like quite a lot of people have been either talking about Indyx or like working directly with Indyx, which is this app where you can like take photos of your entire wardrobe as a way to kind of catalog it, and then you can create outfits and like, but also specifically like tie what outfit you've been wearing to a particular time, and that way you can kind of generate some data around like how many times you've worn a thing and what you're not reaching for, or cost per wear if you put the cost in of the item and stuff like that, which does interest me. On the Indyx app, I'm pretty sure you only get access to a lot of those data, aside from like a 30-day free trial thing, if you pay, which I feel like is kind of silly, because I think that that should just be available. But that's just my opinion. Quite a few people that I follow who use this app like do so partially from a kind of sustainable perspective of like shopping your closet, like using it as a way to remember what's in your wardrobe and wear it, as opposed to like buying more clothes. So basically I used Indyx for like a month, which was like the sort of free trial period, and I'm just going to talk about like my thoughts and experiences with it, I guess. Before I get more deeply into it though, I would like to say that I think like it's important to note that I come to this app and to everything from a perspective of being like quite anti-optimization, because I think it's like a very capitalist way to think about anything, but especially like your body. So I don't like or want to be using these kinds of things as ways to like be body checking myself all the time, or like putting a lot of judgment on like the size of my body, or like basically surveilling my body in any kind of way. I just want to be like using it as a way to play around aesthetically, as opposed to making like value judgments or using it to make myself feel bad about like being fat or like anything like that. Because I also think that fundamentally like getting to some like ultimate perfect level is like unattainable and also not something I'm interested in. I don't think perfection is good. I think it's better to be like grounded and human and a bit messy, and that's fine. What's fun about clothing is sensual embodiment. It's not that it looks perfect or like I'm so attractive 100% of the time. Like that's not interesting or good. It's about like the feeling and like also, you know, the knowledge around like if you're using things or if you're wearing things, but just like fundamentally I want to prioritize pleasure in my interactions with clothes and also the world at large, as if possible and as much as I can do. And certainly because this is like not something I have to do, then I have to be for grounding pleasure all the time. I also wanted to mention actually this really great Substack that Julia from the Tumblr blog North Window wrote, which I will leave it in the description box, because that was about like low buy consumption and all of this kind of like I guess like the contradiction between a lot of people who sort of talk the talk of like no buy, low buy, and like a kind of anti-consumption, but then also simultaneously might like have videos where they're like, here's like the massive load of things that I bought that I was encouraged to buy by low buy influencers, you know. So we all live in this kind of tangled web of contradiction. But yeah, I am really interested in having like a relationship to my clothes and to fashion in general that is about sustainability, low consumption, intentionality, and pleasure and like feeling. I will say I sometimes do really struggle to like get dressed in the morning. I think it's like sometimes been a combination of like grief. I know that's quite like a common experience for people who are grieving, but then also I think just in general I do sometimes struggle with wearing clothes from a kind of perhaps like an autistic place, and I often do wear the same clothes multiple days in a row, and that really helps me. But I realize not everybody can do that. Partially I do that because I'm chronically ill, so I'm like in my own flat by myself all the time, so it doesn't really matter. And I think, you know, sometimes part of that like difficulty of getting dressed or wearing different clothes is also connected with like depression or other like mental illness stuff, and also just like difficulty with change. Like occasionally I bought like new clothes in my wardrobe and then I found that really hard. I was like, wow, I've this means my wardrobe's changed and I don't like it. But I do like the clothes that I got. I just had to like take a while to like accept that change was okay. So yeah, I guess that's kind of like a brief sort of overview and like introduction to maybe some of the ways that like my experience of indyx would be shaped by, yeah, my personal relationship to clothes, dressing, and then like my body and my illness and health and blah blah blah. And then also I guess my like philosophical approach to life, which is, you know, against optimization. I think overall like the app is like interesting. I did not log all my wardrobe because I did not have spoons and I did not care to, but I ended up just logging the stuff that I was gonna wear, which was still like quite an interesting process. Having done the like month worth of using the app, I have absolutely no impulse to keep using it, which I'm kind of surprised by. I thought I would want to keep going, but I just really don't have that in me, so I definitely don't think I will be continuing to use this app. I don't really have the money to just like spend on it, and also yeah, clearly like the benefits to me are like not very high. A lot of the people who've talked about indyx on YouTube, as far as I have seen, have been like quite focused on the way that you can use the app to create outfits without having to put them on, because you can just do it in the app and like put things together and be like, oh, does that look good? But for me, like that's not ever something I was like interested in doing. I like dressing up, so I like trying out outfits. So that's not something that is part of the like getting dressed experience that I wanted to like get rid of. And I think also because I'm quite led by like sensory feelings around outfits and clothes, and also I have a lot of like temperature stuff too, so that can be hard. I feel like actually just doing it physically helps me get more of a sense of like, is this a warm outfit? Is this a cold outfit? Like, does this make me feel bad? Or like, is this actually just too tight around my middle, or like whatever? And so like that part of it is not something, yeah, like I said, that I'm particularly interested in using. So that's also why I'm a bit like, oh, I guess I don't really want to keep going with it, which is a shame. Like I kind of imagined that it would be fun. And like it wasn't unfun when I was doing it, it's just that like now I'm just like, well, I'm over it. I do have like a few things that I think should be like improved in terms of the app generally. I mean, I think one of the major things for me is that every time you log a piece of clothing, you have to put the size, and you literally can't log it without putting the size because you can't keep going on the process. And again, this is like partially, I guess, because I'm like against the kind of like body surveillance and stuff. I just don't think that's necessary. I don't understand why I need to put the sizing of clothes that are my clothes that I wear, and so I can like check if they fit me. Like it just doesn't make any sense to me unless you're like really obsessed with the idea of like, oh, my wardrobe's mostly small and medium sizes, like I don't care. Obviously sometimes it might be about fit, like if this is baggy or this is tight fitting, but that should just be a separate category that you can tick, like, is this loose, is this baggy, is this those are the same things, is this baggy, is this tight fitting, is this like just 0 ease, or is this like 2 inches of ease? Like it doesn't, why does it have to be about the sizing? And like you can go back and I think you can take it out once you've logged the clothes, but the fact that you log them, and also I'm pretty sure it is literally the first piece of information that you log about the clothing, so again, I just think that's a little bit toxic and I don't like it. And very unnecessary. Like, I'm not saying that people shouldn't be able to put the sizing in, I just think that like having that as required information in order to even log any piece of clothing is just the wrong way to go about it and is silly. I also think that there should be, obviously I would think this, but I do think that there should be like a section where you can mark things as being handmade by yourself, I guess. I realise people make clothing, I mean that they were made by you, and I think that there should be a section for that, because you can put like the brand of clothing and stuff like that, but you can't indicate that it was handmade unless you have like a separate tag, which I think is fine, but also like it should just be easy to tag things as being handmade that you've made. I feel like this also speaks to like what kind of clothes I have, all of my like criticisms, but basically I think there should also be a way to like mark something as like an underlayer, like if you have like a slip, for example, or specifically in my case, I have a bunch of petticoats. And so obviously they are like technically skirts, but they're like underskirts, they're not skirts to be just like worn. I mean, obviously you can wear them however you like, but just like in general usage. So I think that there should be like a category of just like, yeah, like underlayers that like would work better than just like lumping them in with the other stuff. I also thought that there should just be like a normal category for like a long sleeve top. I found all of the like top options actually deeply confusing. Like I understood t-shirt, but then there was like I just didn't understand any of the other categories. But like I have a bunch of just like normal basically t-shirts, but they're like long sleeved, and I just was like, why can't I just put them in a specific category? I don't get it. There was like some issues when I was trying to put stuff that was like see-through on the app, but I think that, you know, to be honest, that's expected, and I think it worked okay. It just like meant that when I was trying to put like a record of the outfit that I wore, it didn't really look very like the outfit that I wore because the see-through thing wasn't that see-through. I also think that you should be able to like actually like modify the clothes a little bit more in the app to more accurately reflect how you wear them. Like for example, I wore a dress. I'll maybe put a picture of the terrible outfit that I tried to create on the app with it, but I wore like a dress and then I wore a skirt over the dress, but I pulled the dress up so that like you couldn't see it. But on the app I didn't have the option to do that. I could either make the skirt really big to cover the rest of the dress, or I just had to like record it as if I wore the skirt and then the dress like poked out the bottom of the skirt, which is not how I wore it. And I think that's the same with like maybe like t-shirts, like if you're just like tucking them in and so they're cropped, or like I don't know, whatever. But like I think it would be better if there was like a few more options around like how you actually are like editing and laying out your pieces. I also didn't really realize that there was the option to like add multiple outfits per day for each day until like late. So I do think that should maybe be a bit clearer, but that probably was just my fault for like not getting it. I feel like those are kind of like the main things that I think should be improved from the app. I might show you some of my like favorite outfits, I guess, that I recorded when I was recording my wearing. I realized that like maybe people will think that like I haven't given this like a good enough go because I didn't document my whole wardrobe, but I just don't think it's worth the energy that it would take to do that, because like I said, a lot of the things that I think this app is kind of aiming for is this level of like polish and optimization that I'm not like interested in pursuing. And I think because it's not especially friendly for if you do make your own clothes, it sort of seems a little bit silly to focus a lot on it. Obviously I don't think it's like super different to be putting stuff that you've made yourself versus things that you buy that other people make, but I do feel like I guess it means that there's like a lack of creativity there, or like it sort of means you have to like standardize stuff a bit more, and I don't like that. I'm not like uninterested in if I like ever did have money, or like I could get like a, you know, a free run of like some of the styling options. I think it would be kind of interesting to see like how somebody else would style my wardrobe, but I also like I don't think it's worth it now / financially able for me. And I can't say that if somebody told me how to wear something I ever would want to wear it like they suggested, so just because I'm contrary, not because I think that they would be bad taste or whatever. But to be honest, I would also be really intrigued as to know what somebody thought of my wardrobe, and like that is one reason why I'd like kind of want to do it, because I want to know what people would think. Would they be like, wow, this is crazy, what's going on here? Or would they be like, wow, these are all so ugly, you know what I mean? Like, what would they think? I also do feel like there's some like I did so I have like about 2 pairs of shoes that I wear regularly, and because I was documenting this in the wintertime, I only wore one pair of my shoes, which were these walking boots, which I've talked about before. Like I wear walking boots mostly all the time because of my disabilities and stuff. It helps with my pain, but after a while I just felt really silly to be like documenting that I was wearing them every single day, because I was just wearing them every single day. Like there was no point to that. So I do feel like some of this relies on you having like so many different options of the same kind of clothing or like garment or whatever, that again it's not really something I want or like. Yeah, I don't know, I think it's especially obvious with shoes because people do tend to like have, to me, a crazy number of shoes in their wardrobes. And obviously I would say that because like basically I only have a few options of shoes that I can wear. So if somebody has like, I don't know, more than 4 pairs of shoes, and I'm like, crazy, what are you doing with that many shoes? So I feel like, yeah, some of it is just like not really, like, again, it just feels like another way that like Indyx isn't actually really made for people who have clothes or relate to them in the way that I do, or like wear them for the reasons why I do, I guess. But again, that's more of like a personal thing, and it's not like a specifically kind of criticism of Indyx or people who have more than 4 pairs of shoes. I guess the one thing that I would find really interesting from a data perspective would be like the cost per wear information. The main problem though is that like starting it now would mean that all of the data would be way off, so it wouldn't be accurate. and then it's like, what's the point? I guess maybe if I get something new suddenly, I could immediately put that in. I don't know, maybe I'll try that though. Maybe that's what will bring me back to the app, is if I try to play around and figure out a way to like make it seem as accurate as possible in terms of cost per wear. I don't know, we'll see. One really positive thing that came out of this process is that I do feel like, and I guess I kind of already knew that, but like it was nice to be reminded of the fact that I do really like my wardrobe generally, and like maybe there are some pieces or some aspects of it that I feel like, you know, I could find like better things, or like I definitely would like to find some maybe more like nice you know, like maybe not blouses specifically, but like kind of maybe slightly less casual than a t-shirt tops and stuff like that. But aside from that, you know, I do feel like quite happy with the clothes that are in my wardrobe, and especially the things that I've made. I think they're great and I'm really happy to be wearing them when I do wear them. And so that's really nice as a kind of reminder, and as like a way to be like, again, intentional and grounded in my experience of style and clothing. So yeah, I think that's everything that I had to say. I have no idea if this was interesting or useful or whatever to anyone, but I just kind of wanted to chat because I feel like a lot of the stuff that's about indyx is like sponsored content, and that's fine, but obviously like that it's sponsored content, so it's not going to be just like chill, like non-sponsored content. So yeah, I think that's everything that I wanted to talk about today. Yeah, let me know if you're interested in indyx, or if you used it or use it, maybe like things I've missed that you think are really good from it. Like definitely let's have a chat. Cool, bye.